changed. Let me find that for you. It is here's what it is. LB LGBTQ MMIW G2S LGBTQQIA. So they've changed it to like 900 letters. And this is what it means. So that, we all know what LGBTQ means. The added letters: missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirit, lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgenders, queer, questioning, intersex, and asexual. I don't know who sits around and thinks of these things. I really don't. Is that a job that somebody has at like the gay headquarters? They're like, hey guys, we need to add 45 more letters to the LGBTQ thing. So come up with something. I mean, I don't even know what the missing and murdered Indigenous women thing is. I thought the LGBTQ was based on sexual preference. I didn't know it was like people who are possibly involved or victims of crime. So I don't know. I don't pay attention to that anymore. Once they started adding, was it LGBTQ X and something, now they've added all, I don't pay attention to it anymore. I mean, the way I look at it is if everybody is special, nobody's special. So there you go. It's now 95 letters long, and it makes no sense to me. If it makes sense to you, good for you. Good afternoon, Donald. Good to see you, bub. But yeah, so that's it's out of Canada. So what do you expect from those people? They're trying to make everybody in the world happy, and they're losing their national identity when they do it. And this is what you get when you get politicians with too much free time on their hands. Your tax dollars hard at work, Canada. They're adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 letters to the LGBTQ. You can't make this stuff up. If you could, you'd be like a millionaire. Like I said, millionaire screenwriter in Hollywood. Speaking of idiots, and I'm not even going to give this lady's name because she should be the poster child for Trojan condoms. This pro-Palestinian activist in Norway pierced her back with hooks. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Was it little? I can't remember the name of the movie, but there was a guy who was taken in by Indians and raised by Indians, and he hung himself with hooks. Same principle. She pierced her back with hooks, and then hangs herself from a public rig, I guess like a scaffolding or like a gallows type thing where she can hang during the day as a protest. You can see the picture on the left of the actual hooks that have gone through her back. I'm not sure how dressing up as a bunny rabbit, hanging from hooks, protests for Palestine. I don't understand it. Again, people who are mentally ill are usually very happy. Maybe she's very happy and she thinks she's making her point and supporting Palestine. And those are pretty big fish hooks right there. Those are big ones. But she, in Norway, I mean, the world is going slowly slipping into the crapper. I mean, there's somebody watching her going, hey, hold my beer. And they're going to do something twice as bizarre. And that's going to just keep going until we have people literally like committing suicide as like an act of the protest in town squares now. I guarantee that's going to happen at some point. I mean, the monks did it during Vietnam when they lit themselves on fire. Now people are hanging themselves with hooks. It's going to progress back to, or digress, however you want to look at it, back into people doing stupid stuff like that about just to bring attention to a issue. Number one, she makes this whole issue about herself. This has nothing to do with Palestine. This is about her being an attention whore and wanting to be noticed. Has nothing to do with Palestine. She can kid herself into believing it does, and other people who think that she is can also be fooled into believing that. But this has nothing to do with Palestine. She's made everything about her. The minute you put fish hooks into your back and you pull yourself up off the ground, it's about you, really. Because I don't think anybody walked by that display and went, man, she's really against, she's really for the Palestinians. Look at those hooks on her back. People, stupidity is like a cancer, and it spreads. Common sense has to make a comeback. This is stupid. This is stupid and dangerous. Unless she does that for a living. Was it sadomasochists? maybe that's what she does. Maybe she's like a professional. It wouldn't be a dominatrix. It'd be like a slave or something. Maybe that's what she does for her fun. I don't know. People aggravate me. This kind of made me laugh and then kind of upset me. When I heard about this, the FBI has opened up a case against the Southern Poverty Law Center. And let me find, I think it's for fraud, money laundering. They were supporting the Klan and neo-Nazis, giving them money. And the whole time they've been telling people, no, we're here for the, to help. We're trying to end racism. Let me explain something to you. Southern Poverty Law Center, the ACLU, the NAACP, whatever other groups are out there that claim to fight racism, need racism to make their presence worth it, to justify their existence. If there is none, they will create some. Case in point, the Reverend Al Sharpton, the tax evader, boycotts everybody. If somebody is in a restaurant, looks at a black person and laughs, we got to boycott it. He's a racist. The whole establishment is racist. They make their money off of that. So they will do whatever they can to perpetuate racism in this country. So they're justified in having all these budgets and all these people. Yes, they're nonprofit, but people are still getting paid. There's no lawyer working for these groups that's doing it for free. No lawyer is doing this out of the kindness of their heart. They're getting paid. All a nonprofit means, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, is at the end of the year, they cannot show a profit. If they've been given $300,000 that year, at the end of the year when they file taxes, they can have nothing. That $300,000 has to be gone. And I'm sure there's probably more to it, more legalese, but from my understanding and dumbing it down, that's what it means to me. You can turn no profit. So, of course, they're getting donations, and of course, they're nonprofit, and that's what liberals hide behind, where they're nonprofits. People are still getting paid. And they don't get donations if they're not out there fighting the good fight. So when I read that the Southern Poverty Law Center was actually giving money to the Klan, giving money to neo-Nazis with, what would they say, undercover people there, half of me wasn't surprised. All these people who are anti-racist are the biggest racists in the country because they go looking for it. They live for racism. So I wasn't really surprised when I read this. I'm glad. And of course, now all the liberals are saying, well, they're just doing this to take attention away from the Epstein files. And I'm done hearing about that. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Epstein's files are important, yes, but we can't keep going. Well, they're just doing that to keep attention off of that. Stop it. Really stop it. It's not like the Trump administration is the first and only administration to ever have the Epstein files. Biden had it. Obama had it. They've had it for years and have not brought it out. So I don't want to hear about how it's so important now that it comes out. I agree that if people are on there that have done stuff to children, they should be killed. There should be no trial. There should be no hearing. They should be drug out back into the woods and shot and left there. Anybody does anything to children, I don't believe you deserve due process. But I'm tired of hearing that everything Trump does is to take away from the Epstein file. Stop it. You sound like a retarded child that's upset that you can't go outside. So you're blaming everybody else. So I don't want to hear it. This stands on its own. No one has been found guilty. Right now, they went to a grand jury. They've got what they needed. They're going to present a case to a judge. They filed the charges. The Southern Poverty Law Center will have a chance to defend themselves and speak in court. So I don't know what the uproar is. Oh, they're just doing this. They're framing them. Nobody knows what they have. They just know that it's fraud and money laundering right now. And of course, all the liberals on social media and on talking heads on other podcasts have it all figured out already. This is all just a ruse. Nothing happened. This is BS. We all should be revolting. Again, nobody knows. I'm not saying they are guilty. I'm saying they're not. I'm just telling you what I've read and telling you that, in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were actually feeding money to racist groups to justify their own existence. I don't care. And if they're saying, well, they're using undercover agents to find out, they're not a law enforcement agency. They can't do that. They can't. So all the excuses they have make it sound more and more to me like they are guilty. But again, they're gonna be afforded their day in court and be able to defend themselves, and we'll find out then. I just think it's funny how this whole country is either either you're for Trump or you're against the country. It's ridiculous. This has nothing to do with politics. This has to do with the criminal law. It's that simple. And the criminal law is a criminal law, regardless of who the president is, or it should be. You break the law, you break the law. End of discussion. So we'll find out, because I guarantee you this is not going to disappear. This is going to be in the news. I don't think Kash Patel and the FBI would have brought charges out if they didn't have evidence to back it. I don't think they would just be trotting things out and hoping that it flies. I would like to believe they've done their due diligence and have evidence. And yes, I understand going to a grand jury. I could get a grand jury to agree with me, even with no evidence, because the grand jury just would hear my side and what I had to say. So it's not hard to get a grand jury to side with the prosecution. It's not very hard, but we're going to find out soon enough if it was just BS or if they really have a case. And if they have a case, all you libs that gave them money, I'm going to ask you how stupid you feel once you find out that they've been funneling it to the Klan and to neo-Nazis. I'm going to have to ask, because I know nobody does research when they send money out. They go, oh, I like them, I'm going to send them money. Nobody educates themselves on these companies or these organizations. They just like the little blurbs they put out about themselves and the news coverage. They send them money, kind of like political candidates. Not many people do research on people they vote for. They hear one or two issues that they agree with them on, and they start sending them money. I keep telling everybody, you need to educate yourself before you give these organizations or candidates your hard-earned money. Really. I mean, I can't imagine somebody who gave the Law Center money that really, really is a good person that says, hey, I want to help fight injustice. I want to help fight racism. These people seem like that's what they're doing. Let me give them money. And then to find out they were taking your money, possibly, and giving it to the Klan or giving it to neo-Nazis. I can't imagine how that would make somebody feel. I mean, I think I would feel stupid right off the bat. Like, man, I can't believe I gave them my money. But yeah, that's going to become a big story. And if it does turn out to be true, it's going to be an even bigger story. But we'll find out. I will keep you abreast, or Alexandra will, or Damon will, or somebody will on this network will let you know when developments happen. But it is what it is. Let's keep an eye on it. And just remember that don't take somebody's word for something, especially when it comes to your money, your health, or your family. Just don't assume that what they're telling you is the truth. This should be a cautionary tale. Look into people and organizations. So that was kind of like the breaking news. And like I get some of the stuff you might have already heard. Some of it's not new, and some of it may not be that breaking. But I thought some of that stuff was important. Especially the lady put the fish hooks in her back, and I don't. The stupidity of people never ceases to astonish me. It's just like when you think they've plateaued with stupidity, they find like another level, and they take it there almost instantly. I don't try to figure people out anymore. I either just laugh at them, ignore them, or help them. That's the three things I do with people now. As you can see, scrolling below, there's some other news that's been going on that Damon has put out for us. The supreme leader of Iran requires plastic surgery to a prosthetic leg. You know, that's one person I can't feel sorry for. You ordered the deaths of 30,000 of your own country people because they were protesting the way you treat them. I can't feel sorry for you at all. I hope it's very painful. White House is mulling Spirit Airlines taxpayer takeover. If I have a vote, no, I don't want to give anybody my money. Stop. Let them go under. It's not my problem. It's not the government's problem. It's nobody's problem. It's a private industry. If they go belly up, they go belly up. Let it go. Great. Pope Leo backs the U.S.-Iran peace negotiation. Well, now we all can sleep well at night because Pope Leo has given his blessing. And if you're Catholic, I apologize for what I'm about to say, so please don't beat me up. The Catholic Church has its own problems. They've got the biggest pedophile problem in the world. They don't deal with it. They ignore it. They hide it from people, and they pay off people. So I don't want to hear anything from the man with the funny hat until he takes care of his own house. He's got nothing to say to anybody until he straightens up his own backyard. I don't take him seriously. I don't respect the man that does that. I don't respect that church. You claim to be the voice of God, and your priests or whatever you call them, reverends or pastors, whatever you call them, are out there piddling little boys in the church. But you're the voice of God. No, you're not. You're not the voice of God. And you have no right to tell anybody else what they should be doing with their lives. And I don't want to hear, that didn't happen when he was Pope. It's still going on. When did it stop? When did the Catholic Church come and go, hey, you're right, we have a big problem with sexual predators in our church. We have defrocked or excommunicated all of them. All of them have been kicked out of the church. We've turned them over to law enforcement to be prosecuted. And the countries they're in right now, we are making amends with the families that have been affected by our poor decision-making and allowing this to go on for probably decades. So we apologize. And for the time being, we're going to kind of back off and reorganize our church. We claim to be of God, but we have not been in the past. So we're going to revamp our entire church and get back to the basics. We're going to become a church for God. They haven't done that. But everybody's going to scream about who could be on the Epstein list rather than we know what the church has done. We know. There's proof. It's no longer speculation. It's fact. But let's worry about speculation and possibilities. Let's dwell on that and forget about the stuff over here. I'm sorry. I can't get behind a church that does that. And any church, I don't care if it was a synagogue. I don't care if Presbyterian, whatever the church, any religion that would allow that to happen to children and then pretend like nothing happened is disgusting. So I don't care what the Pope says. I don't. And if that offends you, I apologize. That was not my intention. I just think it's disgusting. And then it's hypocritical to come out and then condemn other people for what they're doing and preach to them. That's ridiculous. That's why I can't take it seriously. And I apologize if I offended any Catholics. That was not my intention. Moving right along. Speaking about stupid people doing stupid things and getting away with it. We are going to talk about that here. So here we go. The first segment here is I've called Keep It in Your Pants. And when I get into it, you're going to understand what I mean. In recent weeks, it's been brought to the forefront, but it's not just recent weeks. This has been going on for as long as anybody can know. Members of the U.S. government, Congress, senators have acted with poor judgment, to say the least. Some of them have outright broken the law. And we all know what I'm talking about here. This piece of trash, who was all over the Republicans for everything they did. This guy was like the poster boy for I'm doing good and everybody should listen to me. And he was the poster boy to be the next governor in California. I think they said he was going to win. Just all over. So on last week, a woman alleged that Swalwell, whatever his name is, Swallowwell, drugged and raped and choked her in a California room in 2018. Her lawyer said she was going to report the incident to law enforcement later in the day. Congressman Eric Swalwell categorically and unequivocally denies each and every allegation of sexual misconduct and assault that has been leveled against him, but he quit. That's what I would do if I were innocent. I would quit my job. I wouldn't stand and fight it. I would quit and run. But these accusations are false, fabricated, and deeply offensive. Probably not as offensive as being raped. I'm just guessing. A calculated and transparent political hit job designed to destroy the reputation of a man who has spent 20 years in public service. If you've been in public service 20 years, you're not a man, you're a thing that's a leech living off the population of the country. And what has he accomplished in 20? Well, we're not getting into that. We are confident the truth will prevail, and we will pursue every available legal remedy against those responsible for orchestrating this reprehensible campaign of lies. Hashtag believer. Isn't that what his thing is? Hashtag believe the victims. Really? And now he's saying the victims that he preached about, they need to be believed. We got to believe what they say. He's now saying they're all lying. That's convenient. And there was more than that. There's other allegations of sexual misconduct, sexual assault, sexual harassment. But, and I'm not just picking on the Democrats, because this is not just a Democratic issue. The Republicans have done the same thing. But it just stands out more when the Democrats do it, because, like I said, they're like the Pope. They preach to everybody what they're doing wrong. and how wrong they are and what they need to do. You need to be born more like me. And then they turn around and they step in a big steaming pile of it, and then it gets quiet. I mean, I will give it this time, and I think there's a reason behind it. The Democrats have kind of come out against him. He's got to resign. He can't run for governor, which is unusual. And I think there's something behind that. I think there's an angle they're playing because he really didn't fight much. He quit. So I think they're working on something because you really can't trust a Democrat to do the right thing simply because it's the right thing. They do it because there's an angle they're going to work and they're going to get something out of it. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe this is a moment of clarity that the Democrats have had. I'm not holding my breath, but it's a possibility. And then we have this lady. She is a Democrat candidate it says in Utah. I think she's for mayor. Let me find the notes I have on this one. Where is she? And she's an attractive woman. So I was kind of shocked that she's out there doing what she said she was doing. Says here that she has made sexual advances to other candidates and or people in the government already in Utah. Unwanted, I might add, unwanted. Not that you need to put that in there. She's up there. It's not because people like what she was doing. Salt Lake City Councilwoman Eva Lopez Chavez, now a Democrat congressional candidate, once described herself as a Mexican lesbian shaping downtown. That's what she calls herself. She's now facing allegations from 4 women, including 3 elected officials, who say she restrained them during advances they considered sexual and unwanted. Lopez Chavez denies wrongdoing and says one alleged encounter never happened. That one time, that didn't happen. I'm not talking about the other 3 times. That one time was not true. Didn't happen. Don't know what she's talking about. Let's not talk about the other 3 times. It's that one time we're going to talk about. And I don't understand who says she restrained them during advances. I really need to know more because that right there, I don't know about you, but it piques my interest. Who says she restrained them during advances they considered sexual? Well, as soon as you restrain me, it's unwanted. You don't have to put that in there. Oh, she restrained me. I didn't want her to do it. You don't have to say that. The word restrained kind of explains that it wasn't something you were looking forward to. But I don't know what that means. What did she do? Like handcuff them, grab them, back them into a corner? I don't know. And they considered it sexual and unwanted. And again, it's a Democrat, so there won't be much hubbub about it. Not much will be said about it. She'll probably, like that lady in Florida who embezzled the $5 million from FEMA. This lady will probably be allowed to, resign and go about her business, and nothing will happen to it. But again, let's focus on the Epstein list. Stuff that we think might have happened, could have happened, maybe happened. People might have been involved. We're not sure. Let's focus on that rather than facts. Stuff right in front of us. Let's put all our effort into that. Let's put all our effort into accusing Trump of sleeping with 13-year-old girls when there's no proof for it, rather than deal with the facts right in front of us, rather than deal with this moron or this rapist who's been accused rapist. Let's not worry about them. Let's worry about the could be's and the maybes. And we got to find out. Let's not deal with facts. When you say it out loud, it doesn't make any sense at all. And this is Gonzalez. He's also accused of, I believe, having an affair with a staffer. He has resigned or will be resigning, which is fine with me. I mean, then again, let me make something perfectly clear. If it's not illegal, then I don't care what they do. If having an affair is not an illegal act, you can't go to jail for it. I don't think we should be involved in that. It should have nothing to do with this. Let me find where I got notes on him. Yeah, he had an affair. Well, of course, affair means he's married with a staffer, and it was discovered. And so Donald says he has resigned, so he has resigned. But again, I don't think having an affair in itself is comparable with what the other 2 people have done. Ethical? No. Having an affair is not ethical. I will give you that all day long. It's unethical. It makes you a liar and unethical, as opposed to being accused of rape, which is a crime. or being accused of sexual assault, which is a crime. Those, yes, there should be no discussion. You should have to go immediately. But I think that with something like this, an affair, that should be between him and his wife. Let them handle it. If they decide he should retire, he should. But it should have nothing to do with the general public. I don't think it should. I don't care what position you have. That is private between you and your wife, and it should be handled as such. You don't have to agree with me. I just don't think that should be something handled in the public eye, because I don't think they had the affair in public. I'm sure it happened behind closed doors. Let them handle it. I don't think stuff like that should come into discussion. And again, you don't have to agree with me. I'm not looking for an echo chamber. You don't have to agree. That's just my opinion. I don't think that should have anything to do with the public. Now, if there's more to the story, then yes. But if it's just an affair, you know what? He'll get divorced, lose half of his shit. That'd be punishment enough. Here's my favorite guy, Andrew Cuomo. I think he's the guy who had the nipple rings that were showing on TV because he had a shirt on with no undershirt. You could see him. Class act. That's a class act. Andrew Cuomo, the 56th governor of New York, was accused of sexual harassment by multiple women starting in December 2020, with the accusations covering a range of alleged behavior. He denied it all, of course. The most serious accusation, while acknowledging that he had been insensitive to personnel while attempting playful banter. Right there, you know he did it. He's just trying to deflect it and make it seem not as important. On February 28th, what does it say here? The New York authorized impeachment investigations because he was harassing people, touching people, saying things he shouldn't be saying in a workplace. In August, James released an investigative report that stated Cuomo sexually harassed 11 women during his time in office with such actions as unwanted groping, kissing, and sexual comments. The controversy surrounding these allegations culminated in Governor Cuomo's resignation from office. He was replaced by Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul. Well, I can't pronounce her name. So he was copping feels and kissing people and saying inappropriate things. Again, the touching is illegal. You can't go around touching people. So I don't think he was ever prosecuted or charged or anything, because the rules are for thee, not for me. They can do what they want to do when they want to do it, and there's no repercussions. And how do I know that people high up in the government can do these things and not be held accountable? Because we pay for it. Our tax dollars go into a congressional harassment slush fund that they pay out settlements from if they're accused of something, rather than go to court. Our tax dollars are being used to hush crimes up. And we know it's going on because the Congress lady tried to have that released, but they voted, and I don't know why she thought they would, but they're not going to release that information. Who has been accused, who was paid, and how much. They're never going to release that. Are you crazy? That's like them voting in their own term limits. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. So yeah, we're paying for that. Whether you want to believe it or not, again, fact. It's in your face. It's been discussed. It's been voted on. It's fact. It's there. Your tax dollars, or our tax dollars, not just yours, mine, are being used for a slush fund to shut up victims of sexual harassment or sexual crimes. And the government goes on like it's all good. This is what your tax dollars are going towards. Things need to change. If I commit a sexual crime, and I never would. If I ever committed a sexual crime, I don't got a slush fund I can go to and take money out and pay them to be quiet and go away. The government's not going to help me, but it's going to help the congressmen and senators and everybody else high up in the government get away with crimes that we are paying for. That's our money. You got veterans and senior citizens that can't pay for life. They living on the street, eating cat food. But we got money to pay congressmen and senators hush money for sexual allegations. We can pay that. Not a problem. Can do that all day long. But no, we're not going to help the vets. No, we're not going to help elderly. Not going to do it. Don't have the money for it. It's not in the budget. Well, maybe if you still got the money from the slush fund, there'd be money in the budget for it. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of helping politicians. That's not the job. The job detail or the job description is that you will be helped by your citizens. The job description is you will help your citizens. They've got it backwards, and we've allowed that to happen. It's not, you can't blame somebody for acting like a welcome mat. If that's how they act, you're going to be treated like a welcome mat. And we've allowed the government to treat us like a welcome mat. They walk all over us, wipe their feet on us. And we just sit there and go, thank you, sir. May I have another? Speaking of that, I'm going to kind of get into local politics. If you don't know me, I live in Maryland in Frederick County. So Frederick County is my stomping grounds. A while back, I ran for Board of Education. I lost. I'm sure you can figure out why. I'm not very quiet. I don't deal with bullshit well, and I don't like to lie to people. And I didn't get elected. I got a few votes, more than I thought I would get, but I didn't win, and I haven't run since because even that little brief foray into politics showed me what a slime pool it is. Not very many honest or decent people get into politics. Other than I will give a shout out to my friend Cindy Rose, who helped me, and I ran with her and Chaz Packin. Good people. Some of the few good people in politics. Cindy Rose is like the brain in Frederick County for school board and school issues. If it's out there, she'll know it, and she can explain it to you. She's a great lady. Chaz is a good guy, another smart dude. He's running for county council in Frederick County, I believe. I hope he wins. He's a smart guy, very, very knowledgeable. I like talking with him, and I enjoy time spent with Cindy. They're both very intelligent people. That being said, the majority of people in the Republican Party in Frederick County, not a majority, a small group in Frederick County, are horrible human beings. There is a lady by the name of Patricia Kelly who is running for county council in running for the Central Committee. The Central Committee, as you all know, is the Central Committee, the Republican Party Central Committee. So they're tasked with pushing, helping, funding, and doing whatever they can to get Republicans to run for local positions. Board of Education, county council, county executive, anything in the county is an electable position. They are tasked with helping candidates who are Republican run and supporting them to do it. So someone that wants to be on that party, again, Patricia Kelly, was on video to VFW, on video, I've seen the video, stealing tips off the bar and putting them into her purse. This is not hearsay. This is what I saw, what was shown to me. Right off the bat, you would think you can't run. We don't want you on the Central. You're a thief. And if you're a thief, you're also a liar. You can't be one without the other. You can be a liar and not be a thief, but you can't be a thief and not be a liar. It's impossible. It's impossible. So you're a double weight. You're not worth the time. So I've seen the video. I talked to the person, and I'm going to have her on, not because of that, because she's the new president of the Frederick County Conservative Club, because our friend Fred Profiter stepped down. I stepped down as her vice president. And this young lady decided to take up the cause and became the new president, and she's putting together her own board. But I'll have her on, but she's the one that brought this to my attention. I think it was $40 that she took off the bar. You can see it. She picks it up, looks at it, sets it back down, talks with the bartender. The bartender walks away, and she picks it up, puts it in her purse. So she knew it wasn't hers. It was there before she got there, and she walked away with it. So when I believe the VFW showed Maud, that's the new president of the Conservative Club, showed her the video because of course they're upset. They showed Maud, I believe, and I might have that a little wrong, but I know Maud saw it because she's the one that showed me the video. Confronted Miss Kelly about, hey, what are you doing? What is this? What is this bullshit? Miss Kelly apparently laughed and said, oh, well, I got caught. Something to that effect, and gave the money back. Since then, the VFW has barred her from the premises. She's no longer allowed back. Unfortunately, charges weren't filed. I don't know why. And that's that. But she is running for the county council, which I think is a joke. And that just kind of sums up Frederick County in Maryland, where I'm from. They're allowing this person to run. There's more to the story. Justin Wages, who is the chair for the Central Committee in Frederick has been shown this video. He's been told what happened. He sees no problem. There's no problem with that. They're not going to do anything. If she gets elected, they're going to let her sit on the county council. They're not going, or the central committee. There's no problem with that. Apparently, also Shelley Alloy, she's a candidate, knows about this and saw no problem with it. Neither of them care. So if you live in Frederick County and you're donating to the Republican Party, you're an idiot. You are an idiot. And I want you to send me money because I'll lie to you just like they did. I'm going to help people get elected. Right, just send me money. Stop giving the Republican Party in Maryland your money. This is who they're allowing to run, and this is who they're going to support. Thieves, not just, a thief, a literal thief on video. They're going to allow this person to run. Again, this is all on video. I've seen it. Yeah, so that's what's going on. Also, there's another gentleman in Frederick County who's running for the Central Committee, Heath Barnes, who's attacking Republicans left and right. His attacked Dan Cox, who's a Republican candidate for governor. He is backing, I can't remember his name because I don't even, Hale, I think his last name is Hale, who before the gubernatorial race began was a Democrat. Once the race began, he said publicly, I'm going to change the Republican because I can't beat the Democrat governor who's in office now. I'm going to become a Republican. And he's backing him. That's who the Central Committee candidate is backing, a Democrat, at the very least a rhino. This is why Maryland will never, ever, ever have Republican leadership ever again, because of morons like this. I'm going to back a Democrat who just became Republican to run for governor. I don't understand the level of stupidity, the level of naivety, how naive you have to be, how gullible you have to be to back that. If you don't like any of the Republican candidates, number one, just shut up. You don't have to run your pie hole. Nobody cares what you have to say. Just don't say anything. Or get off your ass and you run. If you can do it better, then you do it. But you don't back a Republican that just became a Democrat because he says he can't beat the governor as a Democrat. He's not a Republican. Never will be. But you're going to back him. And if you're going to run for public office, don't be caught on video stealing money from a bar and then laugh it off. And if you're already elected to the Central Committee, don't act like that's not a big deal. No problem. Not a problem. That makes you even worse than a thief. Well, she's a criminal and you're just unethical. I don't know. I'm not making this up. And it's not just local. That happens everywhere. We turn our backs to what politicians do because they're good people. They're good people. They're not good people. These people aren't, I'm not going to say they're not good. They're not smart people. Not smart people at all. So that's what's going on in Frederick County. That's what's going on in D.C. with all the sexual allegations and assaults and harassment that's going on that we're paying for. Their slush fund is funded by tax dollars. If you're not mad yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. I don't know. So I don't know. All right, I got to take a breather. We're going to be right back. Got to pay the bills.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
Welcome back. This is Alexandra Levine live. I am filling in for her. I am Seth Eisenberg from the conservative corner. So you're in the right place. You're not at the wrong place. Alexandra took the evening off to celebrate Israeli New Year, or not New Year, Independence Day. So I'm sure she's partying it up and having a good old time, which is cool. And I'm here filling in. Hopefully I'm doing a good job and not embarrassing her. I hope I'm not costing her any followers or anything. Who knows though? I might be. So in the last segment, we talked about stupid politicians and stupid things they do, and how we, the general population, are forced to pay for and clean up after them. So now we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, simply because I served, my daughter served, my brother served, my son's going to serve. The war in Iran. There's a lot of people who are against it, which is fine. I get it. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. You're entitled to your opinion. And that's great. What I want to talk about, in my opinion, is the people who are anti-war. And by anti-war, I mean they're anti-military. I've read posts on Facebook where people were hoping that military people are hurt. When those pilots were down, people were telling them they don't get found. Hope the Iranians find them first. They were cheering when the Iranians were launching missiles in other countries and killing people. They were all happy about it. These are Americans, not other people. Again, like I said about that politician in Frederick County, if you don't like it, shut up. Again, this is my opinion. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Those are Americans over there putting their life on the line, not because they want to, but because they have to. That is their job. And then people are saying, well, no one enlisted to go die in a war. When you enlist, you assume that responsibility. I don't know if most of the people who are talking about the military have never been in the military and know nothing about it. But when you take that oath and you sign the paper, the contract, you are assuming the responsibility that, yes, you may be sent to war. And yes, you may be asked to kill the enemy, or you may be killed by the enemy. Nobody joins the military not knowing that. And if you do, you're an idiot. I don't want to believe that people join the military not thinking that going to war is a possibility, that having to kill people is not a possibility, or dying is not a possibility. If you're thinking about joining the military, please keep that in mind. That is your job in the military. At the end of the day, you are there for one thing and one thing only: to defend this country and kill people who attack it, kill the enemy. Every job in the military is geared towards that. If you're a cook, you're cooking food for people who are going to go fight on the front line. If you're a mechanic, you're fixing the machines and the equipment they're going to be used on the front line to kill the enemy. It's just a fact. And there's nothing wrong. Every country's got a military. Every country. If they can afford it, they have a military. I'll say that. It's sad to see fellow Americans wishing death on other Americans simply because the president they don't like has enacted an action, a military action, that they have no say in. And now they're saying, well, the selective services, I'm sure you all know, has now become automatic. When you turn 18, you're automatically registered. It's not like when I grew up, you had to go to the post office, get like an index or a postcard, fill it out, and send it off. Now it's automatic. They're calling that a draft. It is not a draft, you idiots. This is something that's been going on since the 70s, I believe. Selective services, maybe longer. This is not a draft. So stop with the BS on Facebook trying to whip up drama and fear mongering, because you're an idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. But that's what Facebook is there for idiots that don't know what they're talking about, to have a voice and have thousands and thousands of followers. Because that's the lowest common denominator amongst people, is stupidity. And if you can get the stupid people afraid, they're going to follow you like you're Jesus Christ. But yeah, there's no draft. No draft. I filled out my card. I wasn't drafted. God, people are just getting so, it's either in the water. I firmly believe there's stuff in the food. Any processed food is not good for you. Or it's in the air that we're breathing, that causing stupid people to become more stupid and more prevalent. And it's not just this country, it's everywhere in the world. Like that lady I showed you before in Norway that put the hooks in her back. That's stupid. That's not what intelligent people do. Intelligent people have discussions. They have debates. They present facts. They argue their facts. They don't put hooks in their back and hang themselves. They don't wish death on other people. Smart people just don't do that. Crazy. So this is a current, well, as current as I could find, map of the ships that are in the Strait of Hormuz. And let's make something else perfectly clear. Iran does not own the Strait of Hormuz. They have no legal say on what goes on there. I don't know why everybody acts like they do. They don't. There was a convention and an agreement drawn up decades ago with all the countries that had water access like this, that they don't own it. They're not responsible for it, and they don't own it. I think off their shores a few miles is theirs, but the strait isn't Iran's to decide who can come through and who can't come through, how much you're going to pay. They have no say in that. And as long as we pretend like they do, and like when Trump talks to them, and Iran has no say, none. Those desert rats have as much say what goes on in there as I do what goes on in the Panama Canal. None. It's ridiculous that we give Iran any props or suggest they have any say in the Strait of Hormuz. They have none. And they have no right to collect tolls. But I think there's find my notes, I think like 2,000 ships that are, roughly 800 to 2,000 ships are in a holding pattern in the Persian Gulf or right at the Strait of Hormuz right now. Daily transits has plummeted from over 100 to just a few, to around 10 ships a day being allowed to go through. Noted over 3,600 vessels in the broader Persian Gulf region on April 22nd. So they're holding up thousands of ships. What else we got here? Iran has no say in this. What they're doing is they're holding an important waterway. Well, not so important to us, but for the rest of the world, an important shipping lane hostage with their canoes and shotguns, because they don't have a navy. Even before we destroyed what they had, they didn't have a navy. You want to see a navy, go to Norfolk. That's a navy, and that's not even the full navy. That little bit in Norfolk could park and lot Iran in about 20 minutes if we really wanted to. But so that's what's going on. They're holding up thousands of ships. That's why gas is getting a little bit expensive. Still cheaper than it was when Biden was office, but it's still a little expensive. Other things are going to start creeping up too. This is one of, I believe it's a U.S. Marine on the, is it Spruance? I think it was. I can't remember the ship that fired on the transit ship in the strait the other day. Fired on them, specifically aiming for their engine. And as you can see the smoke rising, they hit the engine. I don't know about you, but if I were in Tehran wearing my diaper on my head, cursing everybody in the world, wishing death on everybody that, thinks for themselves, and I got told, hey, the Americans just hit one of our ships. Yeah, they used a 5-inch cannon and told us where they were going to hit, and that's exactly where they hit. What do you want to do? I would be scared beyond words. That would put the fear of God, or the fear of Allah, right into my heart. That they can call their shot with a cannon, not even a missile, a cannon, and disable a ship from probably 900 yards, 1,000 yards in that picture. It's hard to tell in a picture. That would give me a moment of pause. Damn, we can't do that. They can. Maybe we should rethink everything that we're doing right now. Maybe, but we're talking about people who aren't that intelligent, and they put bomb vests on and go kill people in buses. So this doesn't faze them. It should, though. It would scare the hell out of me. So they did that. And then the Marines boarded the vessel and took control. From what I understand, from what I've read, there's a lot of different accounts. But from what I've read, there were no injuries and nobody was killed. It was done as peaceful as something like that could be done. Boarding a ship was done as peaceful as it can be. Hats off to them. I'm surprised the Marines didn't start eating people once they got on that ship. I'm sure they were hoping for a fight, but they didn't get it. So they'll have to be satisfied with crayons. But so we did that. We told them we were going to do that. We did that. And Iran doesn't care. This is their response. The Iranian Navy, which is Ahmed and his paddle boat with his buddy with a 22 long rifle sitting next to him. That's their Navy. They have seized 2 ships. And before everyone goes, well, look, they seized 2 ships. These are transport cargo ships. They are not armed. They are not designed for military use. Most of the people on these boats are merchant marines. They are not armed. They are not military. They are not trained to push borders off. So it's not surprising. But they seized 2 ships in the Strait of Hormuz hours after the ceasefire was called. I don't know which ships they seized. I looked. I couldn't find it before I got on. It's just it's antagonization. They are trying to push this to a place that they don't want it to go. Trump has now ordered the Navy to shoot to kill, which means put down, sink. Iranian small boats choking the Strait. Good. Because basically now what the Iranians they've become pirates. They have no legal claim over the Strait of Hormuz. They have no legal claim to any of these boats that are going through. The blockade, as far as I can tell, is within the law limits of the law. They have not broken any international law by doing this. Now Iran has become a pirate. Piracy. And pirates on the high seas, if you know it or not, are dealt with very harshly, usually killed. It used to be in the old days. If you look down at Somalia now, they don't kill them. They shoot at them until they turn their speedboat and they leave. But yeah, Iran, again, has brought all this on themselves. I don't know if you all remember the Beirut bombing. I think 276 Marines were killed by Iran. Suicide bomber, or not suicide bomber. Well, yeah. Drove a truck onto the compound, got to the barracks and blew it up and killed all the Marines. Israel deals with Iran's proxies all the time. Hezbollah, Hamas. I read somewhere that since 2010 to current, Hamas has launched over 4,500 rockets into Israel. I think that worked out to like 10 a day, if I remember the article correctly. They take hostages. Then you have October 7th, which was backed by Iran. Iran has their hand in terrorism around the world. England, I think, although I can't remember, I got so many names of countries in my head. They have their hands and fingers in all the evil. And for 47 years, they've been chanting death to America. That's never changed. I give them that. They're consistent. They're consistent. And what I don't agree with is when they first bombed Iran, they said, oh, we destroyed all the nuclear weapons. And then we went back in, well, they might have nuclear weapons. If you didn't know the first time, don't say that you did. Say, hey, we think we got them out. We think we've destroyed them all. Don't come out and say, oh, we've done it. They can't do it. And then come out like, a month later and then say, oh, no, they might still have them. That's my big problem with the whole thing. And it should be. You can't say that they didn't intentionally lie because they knew. I just don't agree with that. I don't think they should have. They just should have said, we think we got everything. We're not sure. We're going to keep an eye on. This all started February 28th. Started with targeted strikes on nuclear facilities, military infrastructure, and leadership aimed at curbing its nuclear program following failed diplomacy and significant regional instability, including major protests. And remember, Iran killed 40,000 of their own people. 40,000. Some people say it's more. And all they were doing was protesting like we do, like all these morons are doing in this country every day. They were doing that over there and they got killed, shot in the street, run over by cars, tortured and killed in prison. And this is not new. If you've ever been to the Middle East and talked to anybody in the Middle East and you ask about Iran, they will tell you it's not a safe place unless you were willing to be subjugated, unless you want to be just a slave. It's not a good place. And obviously they killed around 40,000 of their own people, men, women, and children. And then they executed some teenagers. What was it, last week? The 18-year-old wrestler for protesting. They executed him publicly along with other people. I think this guy was like an Olympic level wrestler, if I remember correctly, and they executed him in the streets. But if you, and that's all. But if any country ever needed their asses kicked, Iran is on that list, probably the top 4. Because I still think China needs their ass kicked, Russia needs their ass kicked, and North Korea needs their ass kicked. They all like to run their mouths and talk about what they're going to do and who they're going to do it to. And nobody ever slaps them in the mouth and tells them to be quiet. And if you know anything about bullies will keep bullying until someone punches them in the nose. Bullies don't like people who fight back. They want easy marks. They want stuff to be easy. So you got Iran who kills 40,000 of their own people, has been terrorizing the Middle East for decades, has been threatening to kill us, has been terrorizing the rest of the world. There's a chance, and let's take nuclear weapons out of the picture. Let's not even worry about the nuclear weapons. They support and fund terrorism around the world. They have killed 40,000 of their own people. They have bombed and attacked our allies around the world, not just Israel, England, all the other places that Hezbollah or Hamas has taken credit for. That's Iran by another name. And this has been going on for decades. Every president has paid the mouthpiece, has been a mouthpiece. You know, you're going to stop or we're going to make you stop. Like that, the video montage I showed of Biden. What would you tell Iran if I'd tell them to stop. Kamala Harris, I'd tell them to stop. Obama, I'd tell them to stop. Well, guess what? Telling somebody to stop doesn't work. If you have children, you understand that. Stop doing that. They don't listen. So Iran has been begging for an ass kicking for 47 years. The minute when they bombed and killed those Marines in Beirut, we should have kicked their ass right then and there and been done with it. Because if we'd done it back then, we wouldn't be where we are now. If we had kicked their ass for killing 200 plus American servicemen in their barracks, some were asleep, we would not be here right now. I mark my words. The world would be a better place. But we didn't. Then Jimmy Carter screwed up that rescue when they took all the embassy people hostage. He got military people killed trying to do that. And I think we paid them or something back then. And that's why the official stance on terrorism in America is we don't pay ransoms anymore because of what Carter did. He screwed all that. But Obama blew that out of the water when he sent, $1 billion to Iran? So we're talking about a country that hasn't done one thing. It's not 2 things. It's not 3 things. It's not even 10 things. It's hundreds of things. And trust me when I tell you this, there's stuff the government knows that we will never know, that we don't need to know. So when people think, well, they're just going, you don't know what you're talking about. There are people that are paid just to watch Iran in the government. Take notes. Get intel. Talk to people. They live, breathe, and eat Iran. That is their sole purpose in life. And if you don't think those people were consulted or talked to simply because someone on Facebook says they weren't, or some talking head on a podcast says that they didn't, you're stupid. You are dumber than dirt. People were consulted that we'll never know about. Like I said, there are entire departments, probably the NSA and the CIA and other alphabet agencies that just focus on Iran. Have nothing but intel on Iran. They probably know more about Iran than the Iranians do. That's what they get paid to do. And if you don't think they were brought in on this, you're crazy. And then people are just saying, well, you know, Israel, we've been forced in by Israel. Israel makes up 0.2% of the population in the world, 0.2%. Israel is smaller than New Jersey. And I don't know if you've ever met the president or seen the president, or President Donald Trump. Nobody pushes him into anything. Number one, he's a New Yorker who was a businessman. It was in construction. You're not going to make him do something that he doesn't want to do. Not going to happen. And if you think that Iran should be left alone or we have no business there and they're not a problem, you're crazy. What else how many more people do they need to kill? How many more threats do they need to make? How many more countries do they have to have acts of terrorism committed in on their dollar before you realize, yeah, they're a problem. They're a big problem because it's not just them. They pay others to do things. So it's whoever they're paying we have to worry about too. So rather than deal with all the little fingers, we're going to destroy the hand. Take out Iran, and the Middle East, at the very least, will be a better place for everybody else. At the very least. And the other moron terrorist organizations that are around, if we destroy Iran, we'll be like, I don't want that. I don't want to mess with anybody. I'm done. We're not doing this anymore because look what they just did to Iran. They bombed them back into the Stone Age. I don't want that. Sometimes talking and diplomacy doesn't work. And then there's two options you have after that. You can keep talking and keep trying to do diplomacy and then look like a bigger and bigger idiot to the people you're talking to because they don't respect you at that point now because now they know you're not going to do anything except talk. Or you can agree, yeah, you know what? We're done talking. Diplomacy ain't working. We agree with you 100%. We're putting you on notice. We're coming to kick your ass. Be ready. And then you go kick their ass. And you don't stop kicking their ass until they beg you to stop. That's when you know they've learned a lesson. You don't stop and go, hey, look, I want to offer you a truce and a ceasefire. Let's talk. You don't do that. You wait till they come to you with hat in hand and beg you to stop because then you know they've learned a lesson. Then you know they're ready to talk. Then when you sit down to do your negotiations, you're in the catbird seat. You get to make the decision on what's going to happen because they realize if you don't, or if they don't listen to you, you're just going to go back to kicking their ass. War is diplomacy by other means. Von Clausewitz. And sometimes you got to punch somebody in the mouth to get their attention. And then sometimes you got to keep punching somebody in the mouth to keep their attention. I have no problem with being in Iran. No problem at all. I don't want boots on the ground. And if we do this right, we don't have to put boots on the ground. We have the world's finest Navy and the finest Air Force that this world has ever known. We never have to put a boot on the ground, and we can still kick their ass and beat them down to their knees. We don't have to put boots in the ground. Never will have to do that. And I don't think we should. I wouldn't agree with it. Keep it naval, keep it in the air, and they can't stop us. Can't stop us. But we have to be willing to do that. We can't do this to fight, stop, threaten, fight, stop, talk, negotiate, back off, fight. We need to start, keep going. So like I said, they come to us begging for a ceasefire and want to talk, and then we can talk. Middle East is all about face, all about respect, all about being a man. If you show weakness, they're not going to respect you. They're going to come at you. Just my opinion. I won't even put boots in the ground and rescue the people because I firmly believe once the people of Iran see that the regime is falling and they're done, they're gonna take over. We're not going to need to do anything on the ground once they realize, hey, America's really going to help us. They've really got these people out of the way. And I think that's what we should do. Once we've destroyed the regime, we back off and go, look, we're done. You people do whatever you want to do. Whatever form of government you want, you do it. Have at it. And then we leave. I think that's what we should do. And I think that's what the plan is. If you put boots on the ground, you've now complicated the entire thing. Now you got logistics, you got people on the ground, you got to worry about equipment, supplies. It becomes a much bigger issue than it is right now. Here is the president earlier today taking some questions.
On the war with Iran, how long are you willing to wait until you get a unified response?
Don't rush me, Jeff. Guys like you want to say, oh, so we were in Vietnam like for 18 years. We were in Iraq for many, many years. We're in for I don't like to say World War II because that was a biggie, but we were 4.5, almost 5 years in World War II. We were in the Korean War for 7 years. I've been doing this for 6 weeks. And their military is totally defeated.
Excuse me, what do you say to the American people who question how much longer this will take? Obviously, that they are having
You're such a disgrace. Did you hear what I just said? Vietnam. How many years was Vietnam?
I understand, sir, but
how many years
past
was
your
Vietnam?
6-week deadline, so
well, I did my I took the country out militarily in the first 4 weeks. I took it out militarily. Now all we're doing is sitting back and seeing what deal. And if they don't want to make a deal, then I'll finish it up militarily. It's amazing what we've done. So I've done that within that period of time that I mentioned, but I don't want to rush myself, because every story says, oh, Trump is under time pressure. I'm not, no. You know who's under time pressure?
See, I think it's the dumbest question you get. How long are we going to be there? Well, I'm not telling you. Why would I tell you how long we're going to stay? Because then the enemy's going to know, and there's always got to wait it out a couple more weeks. We're going to be fine. Reporters are just idiots. Really, they're not very intelligent people. They ask some of the dumbest questions. And I know people say, well, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Yes, and you just heard a dumb question. That is stupid. How long are you going to keep troops? What? Why would I tell you that? You're an idiot. Get out of my room. And I think Donald said something about why are we helping NATO since NATO's not helping us. I agree. I don't think NATO is what it was meant to be anymore. I don't think it stands for anything. I think it's more about a money grab for some of these countries. How much money can we get? How much free protection can we get? Things like that. I don't think we should be helping. And then when was it France and England said now that it looks like it's winding down, we're going to send our Navy down to help us. I would have said, no, you're not welcome here. You couldn't come when I needed you. I don't want you here now that it's over. Stay out. We have it under control. The men are in charge. We don't need you. You've got enough problems in your own countries. Don't get yourselves involved here. We don't want you. I'd have made it very clear. I don't know about if I would trust NATO or the UN. I don't know if I'd go that far. I think we should trust them because we know exactly what they're going to do at any given time, what is best for them. We know NATO is all about them. They want money. They don't want to do anything, but they want the protection. So we know what angle they're coming from. And once you know what somebody's doing and how they're doing it, you can read them like a book all day long. And I think President Trump has figured, he's a businessman. He knows how people are running. He's been running. He's probably ran angles and had angles run on him. He knows it. I don't think NATO can do anything to surprise him. The UN the same way. We know what they want. They want to be in charge. They want to run the world. They want to be the boss. So we know that. So we know when they come at us with something, we know that's the angle they're coming at. So we won't be surprised. I would rather have somebody I figured out versus somebody I know nothing about. With these two groups, we know exactly what they want. They're not as smart as they think they are. They're not as slick. We know exactly what they want, how they're going to do it, what they want to do. I would rather have them than somebody else. Again, that's just me. All right, got to take a break. Be right back.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up. Because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. But America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. The New Jersey State House Watch, hosted by Jack Brangan and Constance Detzel. APN's The Pulse is moderated by either Alexandra, Damon, Elena, or Seth. Also tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms. Join the revolution because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Welcome back. Again, this is Alexandra Levine Live. You're not in the wrong place. I'm Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Corner. I'm just covering for today while she parties it up. So you're in the right place. Don't be afraid. No need to be scared. You're okay. And I want to clarify something. When I talk about people in here, I don't know most of these people personally, so I'm not personally attacking anyone. I am making observations based on actions I've read about or seen, not about them as a person. Most of these people that I talk about, I don't want to know as a person because the actions I've seen and what I've read don't impress me. I don't want anything to do with them. But I think these people who are running for office, their stupidity needs to be made public because people can't ever say, well, I didn't know about that person. I told you, you know. So if you voted for them or you support them, you're doing it knowing what kind of person they are. You have no excuse. So that's why I say the things I do about people running for office or elected officials, because we have a right to know about certain things. Private things we don't need to know about. What happens in their bedrooms, I don't care. I don't care if they're gay. I don't care if they're one of the LGBTQ. What is it again? Let me find that. Because that was a mouthful. I can't remember it all. Yeah, I don't care if they're part of the LGBTQ MMIWGS G2S LGBTQIA plus community. I don't care. That's your private life. I don't as long as your private life doesn't affect my life, I don't care what you do. Because I'm a conservative. I don't want to be involved in other people's lives. I don't want them involved in my life. Leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. But yeah, so that's what's going on in Iran. Again, that's my opinion. I think if any country ever needed their asses kicked, they're one of the, like I said, they're in the top 4. I've named the other 3 I think need their asses kicked. But yeah, I think it's a good war. Well, not a war, excuse me. We're not at war. It's a military action. I think it's a needed action. I think it should have been done years ago. I think the U.S. government allowed that to grow out of control. And unfortunately, people in the Middle East paid for it. Hundreds of thousands of victims to that regime. So hopefully Trump doesn't stop and he puts them down to their knees and makes them beg for us to stop. Because that's the only way they're going to learn is if they get beat that bad. So I never want to have to go back to identify myself as a lesbian trapped in a man's body. There are far worse things to be than that. I can tell you that. So the last part of the show, I kind of want to lighten the mood and get off politics because, all work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy. So the first thing I want to talk about or kind of go over is what time do we have here? I got 15 minutes, so we're good. First thing I want to talk about or say publicly, it's my daughter's birthday today. I'm not going to tell you her age because I'm sure that would be offensive. So I'm not going to tell you her age. She's in California with her fiance and my 2 grandchildren. Today's her birthday. So happy birthday, Corinne. I hope you have a good day. I hope you didn't do too much. I hope people took care of you today when you got to eat cake and whatever it is you all do in the West Coast for your birthday. The picture on the right, of course, is when she was in the Navy. That's her boot camp picture with her war face. Pretty intimidating. Yeah, I know. And that picture, of course, is me and her. I lost a few pounds since then and have a few more gray hairs and then less hair in general. So happy birthday, Corinne. Have a great day. And I love you. So the next thing I want to talk about, this made me laugh. That is a picture of an alligator in a New York sewer system. So the stories you have heard are true. There are alligators in the system. Let me try to, I think I got some, I don't think it's that big, but still, there's an alligator, at least one. And they're like cats. If there's one there, there's another. So you've got carnivorous reptiles in the sewers of New York City. Here we go. It was captured in video by a worker who's doing some work on pipes in the sewer system. They put one of those, I don't know what they're called, the camera in the end of it, down a pipe they couldn't fit in, and this is what they saw. So yeah. And I know alligators can be in cold weather because you've seen pictures of alligators in frozen ponds. As long as they can get their snout above the ice to breathe, they're good. Yes, she is better looking than me. There's never been an argument about that. But yeah, so there you go. It's not just some horror movie made up. It is, in fact, truth. There are at least one alligator in the sewers of New York City. Now, I don't know how old this story was. I just saw it and I thought it was kind of entertaining. So there you go. So if you're hanging out in the sewers in New York, you probably want to watch out because it's not safe. Well, I'm sure there's rats bigger than alligators down there. It's New York City, for God's sake. Everything's big in New York. It's like Texas. Everything's big in New York City. They don't go small. Now, I'm going to talk about this briefly because I believe Damon on Jersey Shore is going to talk about this. So I don't want to get too much into it. I just want to bring it to your attention so when he talks about it on his podcast, you'll know. At least 10 people tied to sensitive U.S. research, and that's aerospace and I think nuclear, have died or disappeared in recent years, and it's actually caused an investigation. This is something that's not like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's pretty serious. So they actually started looking into it. It's being taken serious at the highest levels of the government. These people were involved in very hush-hush, very sensitive research. And 10 of them have been killed, and some are missing. So, like I said before, Damon G on the Jersey Shore is going to talk more about this. I just, again, thought it was interesting and wanted to bring it up. So, there's that. So, we're almost at the end here. So, I just want to thank everybody for coming on to watch Alexandra on her show and finding me and not running away screaming. I hope it was a good show. I hope you had fun. Remember, dang, you've got the Jersey Shore. Damon is also running for Congress in New Jersey. I think it's District 1, I believe. I think it's District 1. Damon Galdo, District 1. So if you live in New Jersey, give him a vote. More importantly, send him money. And I'm not trying to be funny. Running for office, especially at the level he's running, is very expensive. I'm sorry, it's District 3. He's in District 3 in New Jersey. He needs the financial support and boots on the ground. If you can help him. Send them money. You don't have to live in New Jersey to help a conservative running in another state. It can only help you. As we get more conservatives in D.C., we can start changing things. So if you can help him. That'd be appreciated. If not, share his name and get people around to start talking about him. He's a good guy. I call him the Hammer just because he's in New Jersey, and I'm a Sopranos fan. So he had to have a nickname because he's Italian, and the Hammer seemed to fit because he works in construction. So that's why I call him the Hammer. He's a good guy, got a great family, very smart. He's got a direction. He's got focus. Then you've got Tim Fazenbaker in Baltimore County, who's running for county council. Again, a great guy, very smart family man. Again, has a direction he wants to bring the county in, and he can do it. You need to vote him in. There's a lot of people that have been on the show that are running for office now. That's great, and we need to support them and every other conservative candidate that's running in your state, your county, or your city. Also, if you like Alexander's show or any show, The Pulse, which is on Wednesdays, or Damon's show, make sure you're liking and following their shows, and like and follow the network. The more people that like and follow us, the louder our voice gets, and the more people we can get to and listen and speak to and start helping them see things. We're not here to change your mind. I'm not trying to make you see things my way. I'm just giving you the information and giving you my opinion, and you can do with it as you want. You can tell me to piss off, or you can say, I've never thought of it that way. Either one is fine. Not going to hurt my feelings. But none of us are here to change your way of thought. We just want to give you more information so you can make a better decision and use it to educate yourself. So again, like and follow the network, American Pulse Network, or the individual podcasts. My podcast is kind of on a hiatus at this moment. I have some pretty significant medical issues I'm dealing with, so it's not. I don't have it in me to do this every week, 3 times a week. Twice a week. So I've kind of cut back to just the Pulse, but as things clear up, I will get better, hopefully, and I will be back on Sundays. But you can still follow me on X, on the conservative Seth, on Facebook, the Conservative Corner. On Facebook, I do a lot of posting there. Or you can watch me and everybody else on Wednesday nights on the Pulse. That's when we all get together and we talk about stuff and have a good time. Elena Barbera is also on the Pulse. She's a great woman. She's the based mother. I think she's on Instagram and on the internet. You should check her out. Tim Fazenbaker comes on sometimes. A lot of people come on. It's a great show. So what I usually do with some of my shows is I end it with an opinion. The opinion sometimes has something to do with what we just spoke about. Sometimes it doesn't. This one sort of kind of does. And again, this is my opinion. It's not being said to offend you. It's not being said to make you fall in love with me. It's just my opinion. You don't have to like it. The anti-Semite, the flat earthers of human hatred. While the rest of us out here are trying to figure out why people think pineapple belongs on pizza and whether socks with sandals is a war crime, these geniuses have dedicated their frontal lobes to a sacred mission of blaming 0.2% of the world's population for everything, from your dry skin to the fall of the Roman Empire. It's not just wrong, it's comically wrong. Like accusing the Keebler elves of orchestrating 9/11 from their hollow tree. Let's start with the classics. The Jews control the banks. Well, the Jews control the banks. Not true. Never mind that the world's largest banks are run by a rotating cast of Gentiles, Saudis, Chinese, and others, and the occasional, and the occasional confused wasp who inherits its seat. No, the real puppet masters are those crafty Hebrews in their secret volcano lair, cackling over compound interest. If Jews actually controlled global finance, explain why half the Jewish holidays involve we were broke and then we weren't, but mostly we're broke. The Torah isn't a business plan. It's basically 800 pages of God, why us again? Then there's the media conspiracy. Jews run Hollywood. They shriek as if this is some gotcha. Buddy, if the Jews ran the entertainment business, they're doing a terrible job. Have you seen the last decade of blockbusters? It's all cape shit, remakes, and movies where the villain's motivation is climate change, but sexy. If this is the master plan for the world domination, the elders of Zion need to fire their DEI consultant. Meanwhile, actual Jewish achievements get memory hold. The guy who invented the polio vaccine, the chip that powers your smartphone, half the Nobel laureates who drag humanity out of the mud. But sure, tell me more about how they're secretly poisoning wells with bagels. The shape-shifting lizard people variant is peak comedy. They're not even human, says the guy whose entire worldview comes from a YouTube channel hosted by a man who thinks chemtrails are why his wife left him. Jews simultaneously hyper geniuses manipulating currencies with tomahawk quantum finance and subhuman vermin who can't be trusted with a falafel stand. Pick a lane, champ. Schrodinger's Jew, both omnipotent and pathetic, existing in a supposition of evil until observed by a guy wearing a Proud Boy t-shirt and Crocs. What makes it extra stupid is a selective math. Jews are 2.4% of the U.S. population and punch way above their height in science, arts, comedy, and Nobel Prizes. Anti-Semites treat this like evidence of cheating rather than maybe stop throwing your brightest kids out of universities for 2,000 years and see what happens. It's like resenting Usain Bolt for winning because he trained too hard and his ancestors didn't spend centuries perfecting the art of losing foot races. And the Holocaust denial crowd, chef's kiss to idiocy. It was exaggerated, they say, while posting memes that required the historical illiteracy of a goldfish with a head injury. The Nazis kept meticulous records. Germans, famously efficient at everything except winning wars and basic human decency. But sure, it's all a big psyop by the same people who apparently couldn't stop a guy with a funny mustache from nearly erasing them. The mental gymnastics here could get a gold in the derangement Olympics. Hatred is dumb and requires active effort. You have to ignore every successful, assimilated, or just normal Jewish person you ever met. The doctor who fixed your knee, the comedian who made you laugh until you cried, the neighbor who brings you brisket instead of mainline cherry-picked TikToks. From people whose skulls are so empty, they echo, it's not criticism of Israel, a country with plenty of flaws like every other country. It's dressing up 19th century libels in new clothes and pretending it's brave. The real tragedy is how much oxygen these clowns waste. Humanity's problems, poverty, war, AI misalignment, the fact that every grocery store now plays the same 4 songs on loop, deserve better villains than the Jews. Blaming a tiny, high-achieving minority for your failures is the intellectual equivalent of a toddler throwing his toys away because the big kids won't let him win. Grow up, read a book. Excuse me. Anti-Semitism isn't just evil, it's boring. It's the participation trophy of bigotry. Low effort, low IQ, and eternally recycling the same three tropes since the Middle Ages. The stupid isn't just strong with these people. It's becoming an Olympic level powerlifting event. Just my opinion. Don't have to agree with it. Completely disagree with me. Don't care. Just my opinion. Well, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Again, Alexandra will be back next week. I will see you again on Wednesday next week on The Pulse. Make sure to check out Damon. Other than that, again, thank you very much for having me this evening and hanging out with me. When you all see Alexandra next time, let her know how great of a job I did. That way she knows I didn't cost her any views or any of her followers. Thank you, Donald. Thank you for everybody else that posted stuff on here. Again, if you live your life based on a set of principles and not by a political party, you're going to live a pretty good life and leave something behind that your family can be proud of. Everybody have a good evening, and I will talk to you later.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.